I just did a review on Apex by Roja Parfums, and on that review, I got a lot of comments and questions of how does it stack up against Elysium? Can you do a comparison video? Well, here it is. I'm excited to talk about the differences between the two. Also, if you're in the market for just one of these fragrances, which one do I think you should pick up based on certain tastes and performance and notes and all of that stuff? So I'm going to be giving you a comprehensive comparison, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin this video and I compare Roja Parfums Elysium to Apex, and I tell you how they compare to one another in terms of the smell, performance, vibe, all of that good stuff, I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified on future uploads and giveaways and all that good stuff. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you take something of value from today's episode, and it would also greatly assist with the YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much for that. Now, Elysium is a fragrance that came out back in 2017, so it is a few years old now. Apex is brand new, just came out 2022, and I know a lot of people already own Elysium, either this concentration or the stronger one. For those of you who don't know, this is the Parfum Cologne concentration, and people know it as being this very bright, citrusy kind of a scent. There's bergamot, there's lime, there's lemon, there's also some aromatic components. I believe there's galbanum and there's thyme, and obviously this clean vetiver note that is residing in the heart. But then we have Apex, which just came out. This one is actually on the darker side of things, so it has tobacco, rum, leather, patchouli, oak moss. So it's green, it's spicy, but it also has this very bright citrusy opening with this clean heart on account of the note of jasmine. So it has the bergamot, it has bright citric components, also a hint of pineapple in there as well. So let's go ahead and just start things off with the smell. In terms of the fresher offering, is it going to be Elysium or Apex? It's 100% Elysium. Elysium is very bright, fresh. If citrus is the name of the game, this one is definitely at the top of the charts. Elysium is the freshest, one of the freshest offerings by Roja Parfums. They also had a fragrance called Bergamot, which I think is discontinued now. That was also very bright and fresh, but definitely Elysium is the freshest one. And that's not only comparing it to Apex, that's also comparing it to Scandal, Danger, A Midsummer Dream, even Oligarch. Oligarch is very bright and fresh and citrusy, but Elysium opens up with this very tart, bright, vivid grapefruit note, and it has some other citrus ingredients in there, the lime, the aromatic ingredients, and the vetiver that is sitting in the heart is actually very clean, right? So it's not an earthy, dirty kind of a vetiver that evokes the smell of soil or anything like that. So it's a very clean fragrance, and you are going to get a lot of citrus in Apex as well, but there's a very quick transition to the darker notes. Now, with a fragrance having so many notes in the base, those are base notes, so they're comprised of a larger molecular structure, which means that they are fixatives, which means that the fragrance is likely to last a longer time. So here's the thing, in terms of longevity, which one of these two is superior? My opinion, it's Apex. Apex is going to give you about 8 to 9 hours. Elysium is going to give you anywhere between 6 and 8. You know, the thing with Elysium is that you are going to get this really amazing projection for like the first hour and a half. And then it's going to start to sit a little bit closer to the skin, but it's really those volatile citrus top notes that are going to get you noticed. And so Apex is going to give you great longevity, great projection, but because of the abundance of citrus that's in Elysium, you're going to get better projection from Elysium, but you're going to get better longevity from Apex. Now let's think about situations, occasions, scenarios. Well, are they both appropriate for the office? Absolutely. Are they both appropriate for casual wear? I think so, although I think Elysium is probably a little bit more casual just because it's very bright and upbeat. Apex is perhaps a little bit more serious, more professional, and of course with the rum and the leather come a lot of spicy ingredients, right? First of all, spices are used in the synthesis of a leather accord, but spices are also used in the fermentation of alcoholic spirits. So it is going to give you the spicy dry down, even though you might not see spices explicitly listed in the note breakdown, whether that be saffron or nutmeg or cardamom or whatever. This one definitely gives off more of like a CEO executive professional vibe, whereas Elysium, it can also be worn in dressed up situations, but it probably leans a little bit more casual. And so just another thing to keep in mind in terms of situations and occasions, because I know a lot of people make purchases depending on their line of work and when they see themselves wearing the fragrance. And, you know, a lot of people consider this to be a pretty significant financial investment because, you know, the fragrances are worth a few $100s. And so I know there aren't too many people out there with the wherewithal or the financial means to be able to purchase both of them or all of them from the collection. So most people are going to buy one or two, and they probably reserve it for a special occasion. Now, if you're in the market to just buy a fragrance that you can sort of make your signature scent, wear it quite often, I think Elysium is going to be the one for you. But if you're looking for that special occasion, dressed up, CEO, ultra elegant professional smell, Apex is probably going to do that with the oak moss and the leather and the spices, the tobacco. Now, here's the thing. I think Elysium, while they're both kind of masculine in their own way, I think Elysium could be a little more unisex. And I say that because despite the fact that Apex contains jasmine, Elysium is also going to give you some clean floral ingredients. But I think there's so much more of an emphasis on the citrus in Elysium that it's kind of gender neutral in the sense that anybody can enjoy it, although the tobacco, the spices, the leather, and Apex might make this one seem a little bit more on the masculine side of things. Now, what about seasons? I know that it's conditional for many, right? If I'm going to buy a fragrance now, I want to be able to use it right away. I don't want to put it on my shelf for 6 months and then pull it out when the weather gets cold or when the weather gets hot. With Elysium, so here's the thing with both of them. If you're wearing them in a climate-controlled environment, you can wear them all year round. The only thing that's going to be contingent on is how many sprays you do. And so if you're wearing Elysium, I would go quite heavy with the trigger. I would do maybe 5 or 6 sprays. If you're wearing Apex, I would do 3 or 4. So you could probably apply Elysium a little bit more liberally if you're wearing it in a climate-controlled environment. Now, here's the thing. If you really want to cater your use of each one according to the season, of course, Elysium is perfect for the summertime. And if you get like a warm fall evening or something, of course, you can wear Elysium. Wintertime is really when it might struggle a little bit. But again, if you're wearing it indoors, that doesn't matter. Now, Apex can be worn all year round. And so if you're looking for something that you can wear very comfortably when it's hot outside, but also when it's really cold outside, I think Apex is the way to go, especially given the fact that you can pick and choose how much you apply, right? So in the wintertime, you can do 4, 5, 6 sprays. In the summertime, you might want to do 2 or 3. Because let's face it, the performance for each one of these is pretty good. Like I said, with this one, you can expect about 8 hours, maybe more. It really all depends on your skin chemistry. With Elysium, you might get between 6 and 8, right? So these are just various factors to keep in mind. But here's the biggest thing that is going to determine which one of these two you should get. And it's actually something that goes beyond just skin chemistry and interaction with your aura and whatever. What do you think of it? What do you think of the smell? Do you like the smell? Do you love the smell? Do you think Apex is going to smell a little bit too mature on account of the moss and the spices? Do you want something that smells a little bit more youthful, more modern? Maybe you're a fan of some of the greener patchouli moss fragrances. Maybe you're a fan of oceanic aquatic fragrances. So all of these things are going to determine what fragrance you should buy. And for me, I think the smell is so much more important than the projection and the performance, because if we're just talking about a 1 to 2 hour differential, then it can be negligent or, it's a negligible, excuse me. It doesn't really matter, right? But if you dislike a fragrance, then you're not going to buy it, correct? So I think ultimately it does boil down to which one of these two do you enjoy the most. That's why I would always recommend sampling whenever possible. If you have the means to visit a department store and actually try them in person, I think that that would be quite wise. This way you can put it on skin, you can walk around, see how it interacts with your skin chemistry, and also see if it's a smell that resonates with you. You might try a fragrance on and say, you know what? Wow, I don't know why there's so much hype over this. I hate this stuff, right? And that's perfectly fine. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. Fragrances are subjective. But you might also spray a fragrance that maybe has a lukewarm reviews and you smell it and you're like, I love this stuff, right? This stuff is so underrated. So ultimately, it's going to depend on, do you like it? And I'm just hoping that I was able to guide you with some of the more objective facts or tidbits about both of these fragrances, like the notes and the projection, the performance, but even those things can be a little bit subjective when you think about it. So ultimately, I think both of these fragrances are great. I think they're both worth the money. I think they're both amazing releases by Roja Parfums, and there are still so many other great fragrances: Burlington 1819, Oligarch, Harrods, Diaghilev, Scandal, Danger, Elixir. There's so many great fragrances from the brand. So if you have the opportunity to sample fragrances by Roja Parfums, I would even go a step further and say don't limit yourself to just these two. Actually try a bunch of fragrances from the brand, because there might be one where you don't necessarily see or read reviews online of, and you might realize that, hey, I don't know why this one doesn't get as much attention as some of the other heavy hitters from the brand. This one is actually amazing. So I hope you enjoyed this review or this comparison video. I hope it was helpful in some ways. And you know, these are quite different fragrances. I don't even think they fall under the same genre. This is more of a citrus dominant fragrance. This is more of a chypre on account of the green element. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Once again, make sure to hit that bell notification so that you can stay up to date on all of my future videos. And that includes giveaways, reviews of brand new fragrances, top 10 lists, so on and so forth. And lastly, please give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful in any way. Thanks for watching. Love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.